Guys, all the cars that you see in these videos are for sale on my website, www.woodsandbarclay.com. Enjoy the video. Hey everyone, welcome back. This is part 5 in the video series for the 1983 Mercedes 300D. This car has 73,000 miles on it. So in this video, we're going to get into the tachometer, amplifier, the Becker radio, the fuel sending unit, more electronic type items. So first, let's go ahead and dive into the tachometer amplifier, or the RPM gauge amplifier. Okay, as most of you know, on the 300D, this module right here is the amplifier for the tachometer. See, we have a cable that actually runs down here. I think this one goes to the crank. It's right down there in this area, on the front of the crankshaft. This is the amplifier, right? This is what amplifies the signal and sends it into the car to your tachometer, or your RPM gauge, and makes the gauge go up. And these are notorious for failing. Well, they fail, after 30 years, but let me show you what's in here. So if we pull this off, oh, I've already taken out the internals of this one because I was looking at it earlier. So the cap just comes off here, and let me show you what the internals look like over here. Here we go. So I pulled this out of the cap. See, here's your plugs that plug in there. And there's a bunch of, I guess that's a silicone or something. They cover the little circuit board that's in there. And there are a couple of capacitors in there that go bad and cause it to stop working. Very similar to why clocks stop working. But there is a gentleman I found that is selling the OM617 tachometer amplifier replacement module. And he has designed an electronic module that replaces the analog circuit. Check this out. Look at this. Let's go ahead and pull this guy out of here. There you go. The pins plug in exactly the same, and this replaces it. So I'm really excited to try this out. Let's see. Installation. Unscrew cap on the old tach amplifier. Remove the old module. Holding the new PCB by the edges, plug the pins on the bottom side of the board into the mating socket and until it's a snug fit. So it just goes in the same way. Let's check this out. Okay, let's see. Make sure we get our pins right. There we go. There we go. Got a good fit there. Okay. With a pair of long nose pliers, remove the old electronics from the old cap. Okay, we've already done that. It's saying, hey, remove this from the old cap so you can put your cap back on. Once you have emptied the black cap, screw it over the new PCB. Start your car. The tachometer should sweep to 6,000 RPM, then back down to 0 during glow plug stage. Then when running, it should act as the OEM system. Wow, that was easy. All right, we're going to put this guy back on here. All right, so it says when I turn on the glow plug position of the key, it should sweep up to 6,000 RPM, and then when we crank it, it should act as normal. Okay guys, here we are in the car. So let's look and see if it sweeps up to 6,000 when we go to glow plug. Oh cool, look at that. All right, now let's crank it. No way. That is awesome. Wow, how cool is that, you guys? A replacement module that actually functions correctly. Wow, that is so cool. I am really happy about that. Let's do that again. So it's digital, right? Compared to the old original style, which is analog. So it'll sweep to show you that it's working on glow plugs. Check this out. Sweep. Go back down. There, glow plug light goes off. Crank it, and there we go. That is awesome. So we have fixed the tachometer amplifier. How easy was that? All right, next thing I want to do is remove the fuel sending unit. Now, you can see, did you see it twitch? See it twitched just a little bit. Oh, there it goes again. So that implies that something is dirty in there and that float is like moving around or getting stuck. So we need to remove that and inspect it on the bench. So let's go ahead and do that now. Take our first aid kit out of here. And then we have a screw there and right there. And we can take these out. It allows us to remove this box and get access to the fuel sending unit. So let's go ahead and do that now. Okay, we've got those screws out, and we'll just go ahead and remove this box. There we go. And we can see there's the fuel sending unit. So we'll just go ahead and unplug it and put it over there. And then I'll get our special socket and get this removed, and we'll inspect it on the bench. All right, let's go along the same. Measurable. Not possible. Modify that. Modify pliers I need. Fit down the groove. Let me turn the piece. All right, set down here. Set the handle up here. Oh, yeah, got a little bump down there. Okay, it's relatively smooth. That's good. There's nothing on the shaft, but there is a little gunk down in here. So let's go ahead and get that out of here. Show you guys. There you go. That is perfectly clean down there. There's a little gunk. So let's just reassemble it, get it in the car, see how our fuel gauge works now. Okay, when I turn the key to accessory, that gauge should now pop right up to the correct level. There we go. Before it was like reading in the middle, then reading empty, then it was all over the place. There we go. Now we see it's stable and it's reading the correct amount of fuel. Because I only have a few gallons in there, let's just go ahead and try it again. All right, correctly goes off, and then it should snap right up to that level. Perfect. So that takes care. Oh, and our little test light there for the reserve tank. See, when I crank it, that'll go out. Perfect. That is all working as expected now. So let's go to the next item on the list. Here we have the famous upgraded radio from probably 1986 or 7. I don't know. That is a Sony dual adjust head feather touch logic control. That's probably when like Dolby just came out. Yeah, we have our Dolby just came out probably in that year. So anyway, let's get this old Sony, and it's actually digital. Look, we have a digital clock. Let's get this old Sony out of here and put back in the original Becker radio. Okay, I've got the ashtray out. And it's always tricky. It's tricky to figure out how to get some of these old radios out of here. That one's wanting to come out. Let's take this panel off here. Ah, there we go. There's little levers you clip down on the side. And this thing slides out. And we need to, there's the original antenna. And of course they always have their custom wiring harness. So, looks like, I'm not sure what this is here. There we go. There's our original wiring. So I'm gonna have to cut out all this aftermarket wiring. Okay, I'm just going to start clipping all these zip ties so we can get to the bottom of this. Right there. And they're all, aha, what is that? Okay, this is some sort of fuse module. Oh, look at that. There's fuses in there for the aftermarket radio. That, let's see what that runs to. Yeah, interesting. Haven't seen that before. There we go. Okay, we are going to clip this wiring to the back of the radio, and we're going to clip this one. And we're going to clip these. All right, there we go. We got all that junk out of here. There's the original radio with all the, there's the aftermarket radio with all that aftermarket harness. There is a radio controller switch right here that runs under the console. So I'm going to go ahead and slide this console back. There we go. Okay, and we're going to unplug some of our switches, and we want to see what that's wired to. And also I want to clean the wood trim. See, there's where they had some double-sided sticky tape to. This was like you could change your band on the radio. It was like just a remote control for the radio. I don't know why, because the radio's right there. Why would you have a remote control 10 inches away from it? All right, we got this out. I want to go ahead and clean that up. That's where that double-sided sticky tape was. So we're going to clean this off the center console. They ran some aftermarket speaker wires right here. Okay, there's our original radio wiring here. Cool. So it's going to take me a minute to sort through all this. I see the original speaker wiring is still connected to the fader switch, which is right down here. It's green, black, and red, black. So I'm going to find where those wires are. There's our antenna right there, our power, and there we go. There's our ground, and there's our accessory. So there's the original wiring. Good. I just got to trace down now how they did the speakers. I think this is the speakers right here. So anyway, guys, we're going to track all this down, get the original wiring back up and working. Found another one back here. Oh, there we go. There's the accessory power right there. Anyway, I'm going to get this all figured out, and then we're going to get the Becker back in here and get everything back up and running. Okay, guys, using a little acetone and rubbing alcohol, I was able to get that residue off the double-sided tape residue where they had that controller attached. And I just want to go ahead and start cleaning out some of these switches here. I found these at Hobby Lobby, these little like fan brushes, and they allow you to get down in there and go around and clean out. They work really well. I'm also gonna, no, it wasn't Hobby Lobby, it was Michael's, that craft store, and they sell this little like kit with all these different brushes, and these work great for cleaning out the switches. All right, I want to get some compressed air in there too. There we go. And then I'm going to put some deox in there. That is great for electronics, guys, and it does not hurt electronics. All right, let's get that. There we go. Now let's just put some glass cleaner on there. Wow, look at that. That's the original wood, you guys. Guys, it doesn't get much better than that. Look at that right there. That's the original wood from the car. I don't see a crack in it. Super nice. All right. We're going to go back to this radio now. And there's where that double-sided tape was. It was right there. You can see I got it to come off. All right, let's go back and get this Becker radio installed. Okay, guys, we've made some good progress on the wiring. Basically, we've got the ground hooked up, and this purple one, or I'm sorry, this gray one right here, that is illumination. So when you turn on your headlights, we can see the Becker radio. Let me turn off the light here. There we go. There we go. That illuminates. That's your illumination circuit. And then we have constant power right here. This keeps the correct time because it's always powered. And then right down under here, you can see it's actually a yellow wire, but that's where the previous harness was. See, there's a little clip, or a splice onto the original red wire. I'm sorry, not red wire. Let's get back in. Yeah, it is the red wire, and that is ignition power. That's all the original harness back in there. So ignition power, we can see if we turn on, there we go. We have the correct time. It's military time. It's 3:37. But now if I turn on the radio, and I've got one speaker hooked up. There we go. You can see it. We don't have our antenna up because I haven't wired in the antenna control yet. But we actually have sound coming from the speaker. So we have successfully found all the original factory wiring harness. So that's good. Okay, I've got the constant power and the ignition 12-volt power swap. So we can see now it is 3:41. It just changed. So now we want to shut off the engine. And now that we have the constant power hooked up correctly, let me turn off the lights. Now that we have the constant power hooked up correctly, when I come back in like 2 minutes and turn it on, it should have the correct time. That's what that constant power does. It provides it with enough power to maintain the time. So we're going to check back here in a second. Okay, the magic of video editing. I am back. It's been a couple of minutes. There we go. 15:43. So everything is connected correctly. Constant power, ignition power, illumination power, ground. I have one speaker connected, so I need to get the rest of the speakers connected now. All right, we're going to take a break from the radio because I have picked up the original center caps for our wheels. There we go, 107 400 0025. These are from Mercedes. Let's get this out of here. Ah, look at that. So that is going to go on our wheel, and we'll have brand new center caps. Let's go ahead and press one of these guys on here. You just press it in. There we go. It's upside down because I just put it on like that, so I have to rotate the wheel around. But there we go, guys. Brand new center caps, freshly finished wheels. I'm going to go ahead and put those on the rest of the car. There we go. I put that one on right side up for you. All right. Stick one more up here, and then we'll be done with that. See, the way these go on, they have 3 little clips, right? And all you have to do is you basically put 2 of them in there, and then for the last one, you just bang it like that. And there you go. Beautiful. Okay, it is not pretty yet, But I have found all the correct original factory wiring. Let's go ahead and turn on our radio. There we go. We have our front speakers and our rear speakers working correctly. So that's a mission accomplished. Now, what I need to do is clean up all these connections, solder them all together, and put heat shrink wrap around them, and then tuck everything back up into the console. All right, guys, I have about a full day into getting this wiring sorted out, and I've got it all working correctly. So what I've got now, see, I have my heat shrink wraps around here, and I have all the wires prepped to be soldered. This is the antenna control. This is the main power that has the accessory, let's see, it has the constant power, the ignition power, the headlight illumination power, and the ground. And then I have the correct Becker speaker radio connections over here. I got my soldering iron down here in the floor, and we are going to start soldering these connections. Just need to tin my soldering iron. Okay, good. It's good and hot. And guys, I've talked about this before. The correct way to solder, you want to heat the wire. Don't touch the solder, you heat the wire. And when the wire is hot enough, the solder will flow into it. Just like that right there. Now we give you a nice permanent connection. All right, that's our ground. By the way, the battery's disconnected. All right, there we go. All done with the soldering. Now I got to get the heat shrink around there. Now, guys, you got to be real careful with these heat guns, because anything behind what you're heating, they will melt. So I'm going to try to hold it like so there's nothing behind what I'm heating. There we go. All the factory original wiring is now back in the car. All right, I just reconnected the battery loosely. I didn't tighten it down, but before I reinstall the radio, I want to make sure everything works, including the antenna up and down. There we go. Everything is plugged in. We'll just put it on accessory power. So first thing, I want to see if my light comes on. There we go. That's when the headlights are on. Now, let's turn the radio on. Nice. Let's go to Rock 105. There we go. Awesome. All of our speakers sound excellent. Let's check our antenna. Beautiful. Antenna just raised up. Let's go ahead and lower the antenna. I'm going to try it manually. Press the switch here. Ah, perfect. Antenna lowered. Let's go ahead and put the antenna back up. All right, good. The antenna raised back up. Now let's turn off the radio, and the antenna should correctly close. Beautiful. That aftermarket radio that was in here, man, they had all kinds of aftermarket wiring in there. So we'll throw this thing in the trash. And now we're going to reinstall our nice Becker radio. I want to watch this antenna work one more time. I'm just going to shut off, the radio is on, but I'm going to reach in here and shut off the ignition. Make sure it goes down when we just shut off the ignition. Beautiful. That is working perfect. Now let me just turn on the ignition. The radio should still be on. Perfect. Look at that. Beautiful. Everything is working exactly correct. All right, so I was wondering why the radio sounded so good, and I noticed there are some aftermarket Alpine speakers installed back here in the back. And I've thought about removing those and putting back in, you know, the original factory ones for originality. But they sound so good. Here's the original factory ones. They're in the box back here with the original stereo and speaker components. Here are the original speakers that those Alpines just pop out and those go back in. And here's the original speaker covers that came in the car. So these will just, and it looks like they also upgraded the front speakers, because here's the front speakers. So that explains why the stereo sounds better than I'm used to hearing. So I'm just going to include this stuff with the vehicle. I mean, if you want to put back in the original speakers from 1985, here they are, but I would recommend keeping the Alpines in there. And we'll just tuck these back in the original, or in the that Sony stereo system. We'll tuck these in that box. Okay, guys, what I'm doing before I reassemble everything, I noticed I had to rewire the plug because this had been bypassed to the cigarette lighter when that other aftermarket radio was in. So I wired that back in. That plugs into the frame. This is the frame of the cigarette lighter, and that plugs in right there. And that was disconnected. So I rewired that in. And now I'm going through and testing all my switches before I reinstall this center console. And I did find the hazard switch was defective. And usually you can just open these up and clean them. But I always have a stash of them. So I went ahead and put another one in there. And they just slip in through the top like that. And I already tested this one, and this one is good. And all the window switches work. So I'm going to go ahead and get this reinstalled back in the center console. Oh, and also you can see the pin on the back. This is the pin, see right there, that goes through a hole right there, and it holds the back in place from lifting up. That pin is not broken, and it's in excellent condition. All right, let's go ahead and get this reinstalled here. And I just have the hazard circuit plugged in. We'll just test that. Perfect. There we go. The hazards are working, and they continue to work without power. So, and see, our switch is correctly lighting up. I don't know if you can see that in the camera. So good hazard switch, and that one needs to be cleaned up. Okay, guys, we have everything reinstalled and wired up correctly. I want to check to see if we get power for our Bluetooth radio module, or cigarette lighter. So pop that in there. Yes, there we go. So this pops up, says tune to 88.9. So we can turn this on, go to 88.9. Okay, now when I plug this in, waiting to pair. Did you hear that? It said waiting to pair. So if I take it out, 88.9, put that in. Waiting to pair. There we go. It says waiting to pair, and then this just streams to 88.9 because this original radio does not have Bluetooth in it. So that's what I use in this case. So take that out, turn the radio off. Time is correct. Oh, and we also have the, see there's a light right there so you can see at nighttime where your cigarette lighter goes. So guys, that was pretty difficult. But yeah, that took me like a full day, maybe a day and a half. But all of the original wiring is back in here. Everything works 100%. And we have the original radio installed. So that's it for this video, you guys. Like I said, I've been working on this this is the second day. I don't know how many hours, but all of the factory wiring's in there and it's exactly how it should be. So hope you enjoyed the video. We'll see you next time. Take care.